Learn the vegan truth with MC Fructose.
Oh yeah, MC Fructose in the house.
Tune in every Friday at 3 p.m. Pacific Time to learn how you can improve your health, lose weight, and reverse disease by following a diet of fresh, raw, ripe, organic fruits and vegetables void of any animal products. We'll have interviews with pioneers, doctors, and athletes thriving on a low-fat vegan diet. This is the Vegan Truth.
If people ask where you get your protein from, you can tell them all the food you eat contains some. Truth be told, we don't need that much, so excuse me while I eat my favorite fruit for lunch.
Hello, welcome to the Vegan Truth. My name is Gabe Smith, your host today, also known as MC Fructose. Today is a very special show. We have my good friend Tino Bananiak on the show from YouTube channel Bananiak. He is studying to be a registered dietitian. He's in school right now, and I want to talk to him about what's wrong with the health education, especially in this country. So Tino should be on the line right now. Tino, are you there? Hello? Tino, are you there? Hello?
Hello?
Tino. Hey, is this Tino?
No.
Oh, hi. How are you today, caller?
Good, you?
Fantastic. Do you have a question or anything for me?
Yeah, I just said that I would call you. I was just talking to you.
Oh, this is Jean-Pierre?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, welcome to the Vegan Truth, man. Glad to have you on. Tino should be joining me shortly, which should be any minute now. I'm excited to talk to him. Thanks for calling in, man. It's good to have you on the show. Do you have a specific question for now? As if you don't, I'm just going to wait for him to call in, but do you have any specific questions for me?
Actually for both of you, but I'm actually like 120-something pounds. I'm 13 years old, and my height is 5'2.5". When I have like a shirt on, I look skinny, but I'm actually have like a 24% body fat, and I was wondering how, like, I'm a cyclist, so I was wondering how, like, I could just, like, get down to, like, I don't know, like 10% body fat.
You want to be under 13% body fat? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
I know Ted Carr has some videos about this because he runs 100squatsAday.com and his YouTube channel 100 Squats a Day. He's talked about that, how even though he has a six-pack and he's an endurance athlete, he does triathlons, how he still, even though he had a six-pack, he had 18% body fat. So sometimes when your body fat percentage is a little high, it doesn't actually mean that you're unhealthy. Or if your goals are to be under 10%, I mean, I'm not under 10% any means. I don't even know what my body fat composition is. But I'd say training, like, consistently, eating a clean diet that's low-fat, low sodium, and drinking lots of water. And if you stay consistent, you'll reach that goal. You're only 120 pounds, is that what you said?
Yeah, 124, I think.
124, and you're 5'10"?
5'2".
5'2", okay. I was like, whoa, 5'2", you should be, like, well under, 10% if you're, okay, 5'2". Were you ever, like, overweight, or did you lose weight?
Yeah, I was actually, like, really, like, back when I was in, like, 6th grade, I was really obese, and I was over 150 pounds of fat. And then I went vegan, and then I went to 150 to 120 to being a cyclist and good at cardio and wrestler.
Cool. That's awesome. I used to do wrestling in high school, too. So how long have you been, like, working towards losing the weight, and how long did it take you to lose the weight?
It took me about, let's see, I actually became vegan. I didn't know it, but on the World Vegan Day, you know that? That's the day I went vegan.
Yeah, November 1st.
Yeah. I didn't know I was vegan. I mean, I didn't know it was World Vegan Day, but I went vegan on that day. And then, like, 3 months ago is when I actually, like, became, like, really slim.
Okay, so it's just started. If you stay consistent with it, and you're consistent with your workout, you're consistent with your eating habits, like keeping it low fat, low sodium, you're staying hydrated, and you're getting lots of rest, then you will reach your goal. I don't know how long, I can't tell you because everybody's different. But if you stay consistent, man, it's all about being consistent. So I hope that answers your question. It looks like Tino's actually on the other line. I'm going to bring him in right now. Hey, Tino, you there, man?
Yeah, Gabe, what's going on, man?
Fantastic. Glad to have you on the show, man. Happy New Year to you, first of all.
Yeah, Happy New Year, man. Always a pleasure to talk to you, Gabe.
Absolutely. We have a guest on the show right now, a friend of mine. His name is Jean-Pierre. He's asking about how to get under 10% body fat, which I'm not under 10% body fat. I don't know what your body fat composition is either, Tino. I know you haven't struggled with, like, weight issues or anything as far as I know. But do you have any advice for somebody who has already lost weight, but they're trying to get just that little bit further? Do you have any advice for them?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I haven't gone through, like, an amazing transformation or anything like that, like you, Gabe. But, you know, from talking to people who have lost weight, from talking to athletes, doctors, you know, just talking to a lot of people, basically you got to lower your fat intake. Just eat a high carbohydrate, low fat, plant-based diet, because, you know, when you eat a lot of fat, that fat easily gets converted to your fat stores. That's what fat is. It's kind of like a last-minute resort fuel source that your body keeps around. So in normal situations, we shouldn't have that much of a fuel reserve. We should always be taking in, instant fuel, so just carbohydrates. So once we lower the fat percentages in our diet, I do believe the fat percentages in our bodies go down with it. And another thing is high sodium intake. When we're eating lots of salt, it may seem like we're gaining weight, we're gaining fat, but it's not actually fat. It's water retention. It's that salt keeping extra water kind of to dilute itself. So definitely keeping your salt intake low would be wise as well. So you can do like if you want to do a 100% raw vegan diet with lots of fruits and vegetables, you won't even need to add salt. Or maybe if you're having starch, you can have salt-free tomato sauces or just add spices instead.
Yeah, actually, Tino, I actually talked to you on Facebook about this.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, cool, man. Yeah, that's what I would say is definitely number one, try to lower your fat intake, and definitely eliminate all oils too. If you're eating oils, definitely eliminate those completely for more reasons just than weight loss. But number one, just limit your fat intake, and then number two, I would say salt. Definitely.
Yeah, I actually wanted to go raw, and my mom, she's like, they brought up the protein thing, and I actually want to go raw, but then when I eat raw, I get real hungry for something, and then I'll crave it. Then I'll my mental toughness or something like that will just make me go eat something cooked for some reason.
You feel like you have the need to eat something cooked, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's with a raw diet. I'm no long-term raw vegan here, not at all. But just from my experience and talking to a few other people, when you're transitioning from, say, a high-fat diet to a raw vegan diet with lots of, healthy fruits and vegetables, it's really tough to eat, to get enough calories, to eat that much volume of food, because when you're eating high-fat, fat is 9 calories per gram, so you were used to eating a low-volume type of diet, and now you're trying to eat, a low-calorie, high-volume diet. It's kind of like the opposite. So it takes a bit of time to transition and actually, be able to sustain a raw vegan diet. But if that's your goal, is to be 100% raw, you can definitely do it. Just make sure you're eating high-calorie fruits like bananas, dates, figs, mangoes, things like that. And over time, you'll be able to eat more volume for sure. I mean, I know Gabe and I, we've definitely gone through that phase, and it gets better for sure.
Yeah,
it
and
takes
then
a little getting used to. Yeah. My wife, when she was starting out this diet, she couldn't stomach eating more than like 3 bananas at a time. But as she, as we progressed on this journey to being healthy, she just made sure that she added more fruit into her daily routine. So she transitioned. She was still eating cooked food, but when we were transitioning, she was just like, every day I'm going to eat 1 more banana per meal. So I'm just going to have, she was eating 3, 4, 5, up to eating 22 bananas in a day. And, your stomach elasticity, it takes time to stretch that out if you're used to eating cooked food that is much more calorically dense but lower in volume. And then also sugar, like the fruit from sugar, it burns so fast that if you don't eat enough, you'll get hungry within like an hour. So it is really important that you just eat enough. Yeah, eat enough throughout the day. And
is it just me, but when I eat bananas, my stomach really hurts. I get like stomach pains. I thought it was maybe the other, like the food I ate before, but I've ate this, like, I'll have a banana and it gets me a stomach ache, then like a week later I have it again and I'll get a stomach ache. I don't know what's with it. It was ripe.
Well, I'm curious as to what you were eating before that. Did you have a meal before the bananas, or what you had the day before? Because sometimes the fruit will, since it's so fast digesting, you can run into, what you had previous meal, and that, or if you're eating, if the other food that you ate before it is slow digesting and stays in your stomach, then the sugar, since it's so fast, can break down and try and, digest, and it'll just sit there and ferment rather than going through you. So it could have something to do with that. Or, I don't know. I mean, there are people that are allergic to bananas. I don't know if like a stomach ache is something that would cause if you're allergic to it, but I'm not sure. If you have problems with bananas, I'd say stop eating bananas. You don't want to cause yourself pain, but I think it might still have something to do with the foods that you're eating prior to it, possibly.
Yeah, I mean, I can believe that people have problems with bananas, but usually the number one cause is an unripe banana, so just make sure it's nice and spotty. But yeah, I mean, just like Gabe said, if you're having problems with bananas, there's still dates out there. There's still figs, mangoes, and other high-calorie fruits you can go for. So, if it does hurt eating ripe bananas, then, it's not the end of the world. But always, just pay attention to see if it is the bananas, or if it maybe it was something before, or the night before, or something that caused it. So you can always do the experiment, kind of.
Yeah, do you guys get a little tired? Like, I remember, like, the first day I went raw for, like, a full day. I actually went to sleep really early. Than usual.
That's a good thing, I'd say.
Yeah.
If you're going to sleep early, you're going to get rested and stuff. And if you're getting tired, I don't know. I noticed when I first went raw, I had, like, phlegm that was coming up, and I had headaches and stuff, and that was coming from a kind of a junk food vegan diet. I was eating like processed crap and stuff, and it was just part of the detoxification that all went away, and now I just feel lots and lots of energy. I don't drink any caffeine. I get 8 or 9 hours of sleep a night, sometimes more. I exercise regularly, and I just have energy for days without any stimulants. So it might just be because you're transitioning, I think,
Yeah, it could be your body going through, like, detox. And, like, once you start eating natural foods that we're designed to eat, like fruits and vegetables, your hormones start getting to the right levels. You start producing, the right brain signals that cause you to go to bed at natural hours. Like, I'm definitely in agreement that we would, out in nature, we would fall asleep with the sun. There would be no reason to stay up past late. We wouldn't be able to see. We would be prone to, the predators, and I think getting early nights is a good thing. But yeah, it could be, just your body's going through that transition phase, and people call it detox or whatever. But who knows?
Yeah, I told my mom. She was like, of course, she was worried and stuff. And then we asked my doctor. We actually asked 2 doctors. And I didn't believe them, but they were saying I won't get enough protein. I was telling them that there's like raw babies, like Cappy in them, and they didn't care. They were like, they just didn't do anything. They were like, I won't get enough protein. So now my mom would rather let me have spaghetti shop than a bowl of fruit or a salad.
Now, you should show her Mike Velocity's videos on Fruit and Strength on YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy's deadlifting 3 times his body weight and benching twice his body weight. He's competing in strongman competitions, and he eats less than 10% of his calories from protein. I mean, all of the science and the doctors who are doing these clinical studies on reversing diseases, they're all eating a low-protein diet. I mean, Dr. T. Colin Campbell, who wrote the China study, the most comprehensive study ever conducted on human nutrition, recommends a diet of less than 10% protein. You could also show your mom the 265-page report by the World Health Organization on protein and amino acid needs for humans. It's somewhere between 2 to 5% that we need, but on the higher level, it's 10%. We do not need more protein than babies do. Babies' human breast milk's only like 4%, 4.5% protein. Why do we need more protein as adults when, as children and babies, our growth is so much faster and we are putting on muscle a lot faster than any other time in our life? And we're doing that with 4.5% protein.
Yeah,
that doesn't make sense. There's a lot of things you can share with her. I'm just saying so.
Yeah, babies double and triple in their first year of being born. So it would be a little bit ridiculous to say we would need more protein than that. And fruit, fruit does have a little bit more protein than breast milk. So that should, you're going to get more protein than you need with fruits and vegetables. But you take a look out in nature into, the vegan animals, the animals that are eating plants, right? You have the cow, the giraffe, gorilla. You have all these big, strong animals, and they're eating a meat-free diet. They're not eating meat, and they're the biggest animals on the planet. You have lions that eat meat, but they're not. They're not the only ones that are big and strong. And so you have to ask yourself. The real question is not if we're getting enough protein. The question is, are we carnivores or are we plant eaters? Because if we eat the foods we're designed to eat, we're going to get everything that our body needs.
Yeah.
Have you read 80-10-10, Jean-Pierre?
No, but I've read like the previews and stuff.
I highly recommend reading that book. It just breaks down why, and it just makes sense logically why fruit is naturally our natural diet. I mean, I don't think it's easy for everybody to access fruit and to eat fruit all the time. Some people just can't afford it or they don't have access to it. But it does make sense that it is the most satiating and nourishing foods for our body, and that we can. I mean, look at Ann Osborne and Cappy and Doug Graham, people who've been living off of a diet for years. Doug Graham over 30 years, Ann Osborne over 20 years, and they're healthy and fit. I mean, Doug Graham is in his 60s now, and he can do physical things that I can't do. He's twice my age, and he's doing crazy-ass physical things, and he keeps improving with his physical abilities in his 60s, which is unheard of. So, I mean, it just makes sense. If you could point your mother in the direction of, or your parents in the direction of these people that are actually thriving, and then show them the science behind it, it would be probably beneficial to your benefit. So I highly recommend reading 80-10-10.
Yeah, and another good resource is Forks Over Knives, too, and it's on Netflix. Really good documentary, and it shows clinical evidence of how these plant-based doctors are reversing diseases, how are making people thrive on a plant-based diet. So that's another great resource for your family to watch. You guys can watch it together and maybe influence them, too.
Yeah, do you guys, I know Tino isn't 100% raw. He has, just a high-carb, low-fat vegan. What about you, Gabe?
Well, I haven't really addressed that much. I was planning on making a YouTube video about this, actually. But in the past few months, since I've moved across country, I'm living back home in Washington State now, I have not been 100% raw. And the reason being is, one, I don't know all of the places around here, the resources. The closest grocery store to me is about 6 miles away. Besides that, there's a couple that are 10, 15 miles away, and everything's really overpriced. I can't find a place in Chicago. I was getting bananas for anywhere from $6 a case for 40 pounds to $6 $16 on the high end for a case of bananas. If I want to buy bananas now, it's at least $16, and I have to drive like 40 minutes to get it. So I'm also I don't have very much money right now. I was unemployed for a few months before I moved back here. So I've been eating more cooked foods, been kind of on like a Raw Till 4 program. And recently my father just went not raw vegan. My father's went vegan, low-fat vegan, because he has heart disease, and he ended up in the hospital for over a week. His heart rate, I forget what it's called, what happened to his heart, but he has heart disease, and he has 2 stents in his heart, and he can't control his heart rate. So his resting heart rate was 180 beats per minute. I mean, resting heart rate should be somewhere around 60 or 70. But for him, it was 180, just sitting there. So he ended up in the hospital, couldn't control his heart rate, and I bought him the book Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease by Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn, who has clinical studies proving that a low-fat vegan diet can reverse heart disease. And he's been reading the book. He's been on a vegan diet for 2 weeks. He's lost 12 pounds. He started doing a little bit of light exercise, and I've been cooking food for him. Last night I made some quinoa corn pasta with no sodium, no salt added tomato sauce. I made him these bean burgers. I made him like all this really good food, and he's not complaining about the food. Like, he loves the food, and he's losing weight, and his like mind, things are starting to click for him. Like, he understands that, you know, he's taking all this medication, and all the medications, all they're doing are addressing the symptoms. They're not addressing the cause. And he's like, you know, he's seeing from reading this book, and he watched Forks Over Knives with me, which was really awesome to experience, to watch that with my dad. He gets it now, and things are clicking for him, and he realizes that his health is in his own hands, and that he can reverse his heart disease. And it's funny because he took the book, Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease, to his cardiologist, who had never heard of it. And he never heard of Forks Over Knives, never heard of Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn. And it's just crazy. So many people don't understand that you can actually reverse disease through your diet. Like, all of these diseases that are killing people, it's the number one cause of death in the United States is heart disease. And yet it's preventable and reversible. But people don't know that. And a lot of people, it seems like, would rather take drugs and be miserable until they die rather than just changing a few things. And it's not like like. So I've been eating cooked food because a lot of my money and time and effort is being spent on my father. And like about a year ago, I got my dad to go on a raw vegan cleanse because he was thinking about wanting to lose weight, and he saw my transformation and everything. So I got him to do a fruit cleanse for 2 weeks, and he lost weight, and he didn't like it. He couldn't handle, you know, just eating fruit all the time for him. And he told me that he just isn't going to go on a raw diet again. He told me that, and I knew that, you know, when he was in the hospital, I wanted to help him. So I was like, it's not about being 100% or being a purist or having this label as a raw vegan. It's about being healthy. You know, yes, it would be healthier to be raw, 100% raw, but it's not, you know, what he's wanting to do right now, and he can still improve his health. He can still reverse his heart disease by eating starches and eating cooked food. So,
you're saving him.
Yeah, it feels good too, man.
That was a wise move, Gabe, because, you know, 100% raw might be ideal, but it's not very practical for most people, especially for people, you know, who are coming from a background that are eating lots of meat, lots of dairy, and all of a sudden, you know, they give that up for just fruits and vegetables. I mean, personally, to me, it doesn't sound horrible at all. I could do it. But, you know, to many people that are living off of McDonald's every day in urban, you know, neighborhoods that don't even have a supermarket but will have a McDonald's, KFC, you know, it's very tough. So I think that was a wise move with the starch, because it is about being healthy. It's not about just being 100% raw. And that's great if you want to be 100% raw, but, you know, it really is about being healthy and about eating that low-fat, high-carb, 80-10-10 plant-based diet.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I look at the people who are promoting, you know, 100% raw like Ted Carr and Ann Osborne and Doug Graham, and I think it's amazing, their results, and they're extremely inspiring. But to tell somebody, like you should rather skip a meal if you can't find fruit, or eat avocados, eat high fat if you can't get, fruit. It's okay to eat high fat if, rather than being like cooked food. I don't agree with that at all, because not everybody's going to be a raw vegan overnight. For me, it took like 5 years to go from being a meat eater to a vegetarian to a vegan to raw vegan. It takes time to get people out of a paradigm that is diet, especially because of all the advertisements and when you go out to social events, it's always around food, and any restaurant's always like high fat and animal products everywhere. It's difficult to just change your whole lifestyle like that, especially overnight. So
yeah, people rather change.
Everybody's in a different place, man.
Yeah, people rather die than change their diet, which is really ridiculous.
It's sad. It's really sad.
It really is sad.
When I was like watching something, it said that you need animal fat for your brain and something. I have like a friend whose family is vegetarian and he's vegan. He's been vegan since birth, and he's like he's the smartest kid in my school, and he's actually going to high school. He's going to live on campus at some high school for smart people.
Wow. What was it you saw that said that you needed animal fat for your brain? I'm curious about that.
I was actually looking at the Freedomizer Radio thing, and I guess I was too late. And but there were these people talking about like genetically modified foods and stuff, and then there's this caller, he's talking about how they need animal fat for their brain. And I think like if you just put in like you need, I don't know, like Google something like that.
Yeah, I've heard that before, because people say that your brain is made of cholesterol and stuff. It's funny because your liver, you actually produce your own cholesterol, and plants actually contain a very small amount of cholesterol. So even leafy green vegetables have fat in them. Lettuce is like 3 to 10% fat, and it's healthier fat than the saturated fat and all of the carcinogens that are created when you eat cooked foods. The hydrocyclic hydrocarbons, and I don't even know how to pronounce all those carcinogens that are cancer-causing and just completely destructive to your body when you eat cooked animal flesh. It's not healthy at all.
Yeah. And then you eat it raw, you get all the nasty bacteria that come from it, because it is rotting flesh, And if you're not a carnivore who has the body that can digest it very quickly, you're going to get sick. And, you take a look at like a lion or a wolf. They have a very short digestive system that gets the meat in and out very, very quickly, and their stomach acid is much more acidic than ours. And it can burn, it can digest the meat much, much faster and stronger than we can. There's nothing on or in our bodies. Our biology or physiology shows that we're carnivores. Nothing, not one sign.
Mm-hmm.
But people still claim that we need to eat meat. So I think that's the funniest thing in the world. But
and you can just look at all the people who have been improving their health on plant-based diets. Obviously there are people who eat plant-based diets or vegan diets that aren't healthy, but people who eat whole foods and plants, low fat, look at how they're improving their diet. And look at like all other animals in nature. I mean, animals in nature don't get these epidemics of obesity and cancer and heart disease. They're just eating their natural diet and they're thriving. We're the only animals that have to cook and process and kill something and then cook it before we eat it. I mean, if somebody else, like if a wolf's going to go out and eat in nature, they're going to eat an animal, but they're going to eat it raw. The idea of eating a cow or flesh from an animal in its natural state is sickening to us. I mean, doesn't that eating a dead carcass, and how an animal normally would eat an animal with like the guts and the eyeballs and the butthole and everything, that's disgusting. It does not make me want to eat anything. I mean, but the idea of eating fruit, that you just walk out into nature, you pick it off the tree, it smells good, it tastes good, it just makes sense, right?
Yeah, I heard
absolutely.
That in meat. I heard that they found MRSA in the meat supply now.
Yeah, they have. I've heard that. Mike Flassy was telling me about that, which is really scary because
what?
that can, like, MRSA, which is like a flesh-eating bacteria.
Oh, yeah.
So if you go to a grocery store, I mean, I try not to, like, buy, get too much, like, plastic stuff or, like, but when I go to the grocery store, I always put my fruit into plastic because I don't want the bacteria and the MRSA maybe to get on my food if I'm putting it on the conveyor belt when I'm buying at the grocery store. Just kind of sad, but at the same time it protects me from flesh-eating bacteria. Guys, we got to take a quick little commercial break here. We'll be back talking with Tino Bananiak on The Vegan Truth. If anybody wants to call in and ask more questions, phone number here is 347-324-3704. You're listening to The Vegan Truth. Welcome back to The Vegan Truth. I'm Gabe Smith, also known as MC Fructose. We're talking with Tino Bananiak right now. Tino, I know this is the first show of 2014, and a lot of people are, have New Year's resolutions. They want to lose weight, they want to get healthy, all that. As a vegan who's already healthy and studying to be, about health and stuff in school, do you have any New Year's resolutions?
Well, just the whole thing about resolutions, I'm all for people getting hyped up and pumped, and excited for the new year and for change. But just the word resolution, you got re-solution, right? It's going to reoccur, and you're always coming up with new solutions. So what I'm all about is coming up with a master plan, right? Coming up with something sustainable that you can have for the rest of your life as opposed to just a few months throughout the year. So doing having sustainable goals. So, if we're talking about like weight loss, right? People are, now it's wintertime, but spring is right around the corner, summer's coming. They want to lose weight and get into their bikini bodies or their beach bodies or whatever. As opposed to just focusing on weight loss, you should focus on health. Focus on eating whole plant-based foods, and weight loss will get taken care of. So that's what I mean about sustainability. I guess personal goals for me, to be more active. It's kind of tough being always stuck in my desk studying for things like biochemistry and nutrition. Science courses here in college. So it's tough to get out and to go for a run or a bike ride or something like that. So definitely getting out more. But even then, I'm not going to push myself past the limits. I know what my body can take and what its limits are. So I guess just being more active, getting more fresh air and sunshine, and
Cool. I saw on somebody's Facebook wall recently that their New Year's resolution was to eat, sleep, and drink more. But drink in terms of like water, staying hydrated. And I love that. That's like the greatest New Year's resolution, to just like live life to its fullest, eat, drink, and sleep more. Like I want to do that because all of those things are like my favorite things. I love eating, I love sleeping, and I love being hydrated and drinking water, and it's all healthy. So I love that. And I love what you also said about having goals that are outside of just losing weight and vanity reasons, It's like talking to Mike Felicity about his goals, and instead of wanting to be like a huge, big, bulky bodybuilder, he's a power lifter. It's like how much weight can you put up? So the goal is not about getting bigger or losing weight and about your image. It's about what you can do, your physical ability. So I like that a lot.
Yeah, he's doing a lot of great stuff with his channel. He's pumping out the weight on a fruit-based diet, so he's really amazing. Fruit and Strength, look him up, guys. He's doing a lot for the movement. Yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely.
Now you're studying nutrition in school right now. What made you decide to go to school to study nutrition? Because aren't you learning things that are just different than what you believe and what the doctors and everything that you follow? Doesn't it just contradict things that you believe in? Like, why did you decide to go to school and study nutrition? I was always kind of into health, and once I started to get into nutrition for personal reasons, just to,
I got into it for weight loss. I got into it for aesthetics, and why most people begin to pick up a diet, right? So I started looking into nutrition and ran into this documentary called Forks Over Knives. Now, for the people that are listening, if you can take away anything from this radio show right here, is watch Forks Over Knives. That documentary seriously changed my life. It was the first time I found out that plant-based diet was more than just about animal activism and environmental issues. You can actually be healthy and thrive eating whole plant-based foods. So once I found that, my mind was blown, and I couldn't, I started looking into it more, and I started to find myths, right? Like such as you don't need to drink milk to have strong bones. You don't need to eat protein to be a strong guy. There was all these misconceptions being spread around, and so I was like, well, I'm already interested in nutrition. Why don't I go into it? Maybe help bring awareness to these misconceptions. And so that was my biggest influence. Definitely, it was Forks Over Knives. Also, when I was watching a lot of YouTube videos too, and this guy named Durian Rider really got me pumped too, doing the YouTube videos. So that's when I started doing. That's when I began my YouTube channel, Bananiac, and just started getting as much information as I knew out there. I mean, I'm still learning. I'm not saying I know everything right now, but everything I know, might as well get it out there. So that's my biggest mission is to just get the information out there and dispel any of this information.
Cool. I mean, that's very similar to me too. I mean, Durian Rider is one of the main influences on me for wanting to go vegan and me turning vegan. In school right now, you're studying to become a registered dietitian, right?
Right, yeah.
Is there things that are contradicting or things that you're being taught that you just completely disagree with that, are we being lied to with our health education in school?
And I don't know if that's a question for me, but I've definitely talked to doctors about this. Like, Dr. T. Colin Campbell, he was the author of the China Study. He wrote the book called Whole, and I believe his brand new book called The Low Carb Fat or something like that. Basically, I've interviewed him on my channel, Bananiac, and I've asked him that same question. What's going on with nutrition? I've asked Dr. McDougall that too. And, they're saying, is it a conspiracy? Maybe. I don't know. What is going on? Dr. Campbell was part of a policy. He was in where they make the policies, and he would see things he didn't like. He would see things he would call bad science, and who knows? Basically, my opinion is just business. I mean, you have the meat and dairy industry. They're huge, right? That's where that's what has the control when we're talking about food. Meat and dairy can be subsidized, and it's much cheaper for schools to have chicken patties and skim milk for breakfast and lunch or whatever for elementary schoolers, as opposed to the grapes, figs, bananas, rice, beans. So I believe it's just business. Who knows what's really going on? Some things that I found that are different, though, from the things I'm learning and advocating, as opposed to what I'm actually being taught in school. In school, in college, what they teach with nutrition is a form of reductionist, what T. Colin Campbell would call a reductionist way, a reductionist approach, and that is eat protein, eat meat to get protein, right? Eat dairy for strong bones, for calcium, fish for omega-3s, for healthy heart or whatnot. And it's such a reductionist way of looking at it, because every animal in the animal kingdom eats the foods they're designed for, and none of them are running into deficiencies. They're not getting heart disease, diabetes, or anything like that. And so it's a reductionist approach. And once you start looking, because they say, if you go vegan, you're not going to get enough protein. You're not going to get enough calcium, omega-3. Iron's another one, because those nutrients that come from these animal-based foods, apparently, are more bioavailable. It's what they say. But, you take a look at the patients of these plant-based doctors, and they're reversing cancer, they're reversing diabetes. Are these all an outcome of deficiencies? Or maybe, they're actually eating foods that are nourishing their bodies? So that's one thing is reductionism, right? Another way, another difference that I'm learning in school is the way they treat disease. It's more like they're treating the symptoms and not the causes. Like, for example, we're talking about diabetes here, and what happens is a standard nutritionist would say, lower your sugar intake, and that's going to help control your diabetes. But just because you're lowering your sugar doesn't mean you're diabetic free. It doesn't mean you reverse that diabetes. You just don't have that sugar that will make the symptom of high blood sugar appear. And so what I've learned is, Dr. Neil Bernard of PCRM in Washington, D.C., he has a program for reversing diabetes with a high-carbohydrate plant-based diet. How does that work? You take the fat out of the body, out of the system, the diet, and which is blocking the insulin on that cell that allows the glucose to go in. Once you take the fat out, the sugar can enter the cell. You're diabetic free. So that was another difference was with diseases. Another one was something more simple like weight loss. They're telling you to cut calories but increase your physical activity. I just don't see how that will work. I mean, you take someone who is overweight, let's say 250 pounds, you're telling them to eat less and to work out more. That is a formula of failure, and it's not going to work in the long term, How can you go farther with less fuel? It's not going to work. So once you start eating the right foods, you can eat as much as you want, as much as you need, without having that little voice in the back of your head saying, quit eating, go work out more. So those were the main differences. But, hopefully in the next couple of years, things will change. The vegan population has doubled in 2 years. That one survey that came out a little while ago said the vegan population doubled in just 2 years. So more and more people are catching on the healthy plant-based diet. Hopefully things will take off from there.
And your goal as a vegan dietitian, where is to change the system, is to what is your goal as to be a vegan going against the grain, studying nutrition? What's your goal with that? I
mean, I'm not I'd love to be a John McDougall one day, right? I'd love to become big and have all these studies and publish in medical journals. But I mean, something as simple as just one-on-one coaching with people and just helping people on a day-to-day basis is just enough for me. Just getting the word out there. So, I have a lot of possibilities as a dietitian. I can, go into plant-based organizations such as PCRM. PCRM are doing really great things. When you're talking about with their legislative branch, they have their nutrition branch. With the animals and their ethical branch, I'd love to go into an organization like that, do one-on-one coaching, maybe, conduct studies. There's all sorts of options for me, but right now things are open, and I guess we'll see what comes.
Cool. Talking back about what you were saying about the reduction approach to health and why people think they need to eat dairy for calcium, and we need to eat fish for omegas. Just a comment on that really quick. People don't realize that those animals are getting the nutrients from the food they eat. So
exactly.
we can eat the same food. You know, I mean, we're not going to go out and eat grass like a cow, but that's where the cow is getting all the nutrients from. And a fish is eating algae to get the omegas. You're going to get more. You're going to get the omega if you just eat algae, or if you eat like some walnuts. You're going to get the nutrients, and you can bypass killing the animal and bypass the saturated fat and the cholesterol and all that stuff that you don't need. Because, I mean, we can look at certain foods and say, yeah, this has benefits, but then look at how many, the bad parts, like the detrimental parts of some foods outweigh the benefits. You have to kind of look at that in the bigger picture. And point. Also in terms of drinking, like we don't get enough calcium or certain nutrients that we don't have enough of. Well, some vegans don't because they're eating a processed diet. If you're eating a processed diet, it's going to have less nutrients in it. Anytime you process a food, whether it be like pasta or even cooking process, you're going to lose some of the nutrients. But if you're eating whole foods, and even if you are eating some cooked foods, but you're eating whole foods, not so that out of a can or a package or been highly processed, you're going to get more nutrients and you're going to absorb more of them. So there's that. And talking to Ann Osborne, who was on the show a while back, she was telling me that, you know, vegans, if you're eating whole plant-based food, you don't need to eat as much calcium or certain nutrients as what the recommended daily allowances are, because the standard American diet, people need to eat more calcium because they're eating a lot of protein and a lot of fat, especially the protein, which is highly acidifying, which your blood, with all that acidifying, you need to neutralize it. Your blood has to maintain a constant pH balance, and the way you do that, you neutralize it with calcium. So you leach it out of your bones, and to replace that, you need to eat more calcium. So if you're not eating a high-protein diet that's not acidifying to the body, it's more alkaline, you don't need as much calcium. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it could be that, you know, since you're eating it raw in its natural state, you're getting more nutrients that way. You know, you lose a little bit with cooking and also processing, like you said, with things like pastas and cereals. That's why they enrich those foods. If you look at labels, you'll find many of the pastas and the cereals are actually enriched. They put the nutrients back that are lost from the processing. So that's why they enrich foods. And also it could be that, the body's in a sick state when you're eating lots of meat and dairy. Like you said, you have to lose those nutrients in order to compensate for your body's reaction to just stay alive, you know. So once you start eating more healthier, you're able to utilize the nutrients a lot better, and you don't need as much, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like we have another caller calling in. I have a feeling I know who this is, but I have a caller. Hello, caller 603, area code. Is this Jonas?
Yes, New Hampshire. Matt Blunt.
Oh, what's up, Matt?
How's it going, man?
Hi. Going good.
Pal Simeon.
Pal Simeon on YouTube.
Oh, Pal Simeon. What's going on, man? Good to talk to you. Glad you're calling in.
Why am I calling in?
You know, I'm glad you're calling in. Yeah, thanks for calling in. Do you have any questions or anything?
I actually I wanted to say something about the dietary education conspiracy thing, you know, like, and it reminded me of a quote by Mark Twain where he says, "Sometimes I wonder whether the world is being run by smart people who are putting us on or by imbeciles who really mean it." And I really think it's imbeciles who really mean it.
That's a good quote,
I can get behind that. It does definitely seem to be about profit, you know. The rich are getting richer, poor are getting poorer, and I mean in this country when they sell fruits and vegetables or they sell any food, it's not based on quality. It's based on the weight and the volume. Yeah. It's not based on the nutrient density, which is the reason why they get cows all fat by feeding them unnatural diets, and they feed them like they're cannibalistic, and they eat whatever, and they keep veal in little tiny boxes. They're not allowed to exercise. It's kept in a little crate all day because they want to get them fat and weigh more because it makes more profit. It's really, really disgusting.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I hate to say it, but the meat and dairy industry are one of the most recycling conscious industries out there, they won't waste a single thing. And so, the whey protein and all that gets recycled back, and they sell it to people. They sell it to bodybuilders as protein powder, quote unquote. And bones and cartilage from animals, they'll use it as gelatin and put it into things like Jell-O and gummy bears and things like that. They won't waste a single ounce of an animal. It's disgusting. It's disgusting.
I heard on an article from the Rolling Stone or something, I think they said they would even break up syringes and stuff and mix it in with their food because they don't throw away anything because it costs money to throw stuff away. And they would just feed their garbage to them.
It's nasty. They look at the animals as items as opposed to living beings, It's sad, and it's disgusting.
I talked to somebody on YouTube. Somebody was leaving some comments on a video of mine on YouTube, and they said that they recently went vegan because they were working in a meat processing factory, and they saw all of the carnage that was going on. They learned where their food was coming from, and they couldn't stomach it anymore. And they were saying that they make this pile of inedibles that humans aren't supposed to eat. It's like, I think Jamie Oliver on his show Food Revolution has a thing about pink slime and how they make that edible by using ammonia or something. It's similar to that, but then they take all those inedibles that we're not supposed to eat, but they feed it to dogs, like pets, and then they also feed it back to the animals. They give it right back to the same animals that people are eating. So these cannibalistic animals, and they take the oils from these inedible parts and it's used in makeup. And it's just disgusting thinking about it. And, it makes sense that this person who was commenting on my YouTube channel went vegan. If you're surrounded by that and you see where your food is coming from, which so many people are just, they don't know what's going on. They're in the dark, and they're kept in the dark because you turn on the TV and you see, oh, this is delicious McDonald's or Burger King, sandwich. I want to go eat that. It's cheap. It looks good. I want to, everybody, I'm loving it, right? There's all this advertisement to promote it, and it's everywhere you look. And people actually think if they don't eat it, they're going to be sick and they're going to die, and they'll be deficient or something. It's so sad and backwards. And the meat lobby that is in this country is pumping out lots and lots of money to keep us in the dark about it, and it's just extremely sad.
Yeah, they're doing a great job. Yeah, they're doing a great job with it too. You look at the commercials and they're all kind of lovey-dovey, like McDonald's, I'm loving it. And that's, those things catch the mainstream. And when you have a McDonald's in every city, just like I was saying earlier, in urban cities, you got McDonald's and you don't have supermarkets, you don't have, fruit stands or whatever. What are people going to eat? And, dude, meat and dairy industry are very powerful when we're talking about the food system, for sure. The fruit and vegetable industry, not very big at all when you compare it to these big monsters.
Yeah, they have no marketing dollars in the fruit and vegetable industry. It's got so twisted that no one could have engineered it, though, the ignorance. They'd have to be so carved up to think it all through that no way. Because the carved up person would be too conscious to do it.
Yeah. It takes a little while to realize, the truth. But once you find it, it's very hard to turn away from it.
I think some people are scared to go vegan, even if they see the science and if they see people who are thriving and reversing diseases and getting healthy and everything. I think some people are scared because of the social aspect that comes with it. Because, look at my dad right now who has recently gone vegan, and he's liking it. He's not, suffering at all. He's enjoying his food, and I'm so proud of him for taking this step. But his girlfriend is kind of resistant a little bit. I remember when, he first went vegan 2 weeks ago, she had a lot of questions, and she was kind of defensive, and she's worried about, the social aspects. What if we go out to dinner, or we go get invited to a friend's house, or what about holidays? And my dad's really calm, and he's collected about it, and he gets it, and he's like, well, you make plans, because this is for my health, this is for my life. It's not about other people at that point. But I think some people, like her, she's my dad's girlfriend / stepmom, and she's resistant to it, of the social aspect. I mean, how do we break down people's idea that it doesn't have to be that, like, it doesn't have to be hard. It's not hard for me to stay vegan.
Yeah.
It might be hard for people to go 100% raw vegan overnight, but it's not hard to be vegan. It's easy.
I think too many people. Yeah, I think too many people are like, they're worried about what other people think too much. The social aspect is huge, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because I'm almost positive that's the most common reason why people don't go vegan. Even if they know deep inside that it's a healthy move to do, it's the best thing for the planet, obviously for the animals as well. I think that social aspect really just stops people from going vegan. And so what, I guess the best way to make people go vegan is to show them how easily accessible food can be. You don't have to eat complicated things like soy burgers and things like that. Like you can eat normal things like you probably eat already, like rice and beans and stuff. Or if you do want to eat meat, still just order the soy burgers and order the tofu burgers and things like that. And also show them that they're having fun with making smoothies, making awesome recipes. And just showing people how healthy you are. You take a look at all the athletes, and they're eating high carbohydrate diets. They might not be eating vegan diets, but just show them that it's the high carbohydrate aspect that gets people thriving. And you also look at athletes that are showing this, like Max Danzig, who is a UFC fighter, and he's kicking ass on a plant-based diet, and it has been for so many years. So just show people that you can still have fun as a vegan and still do like the normal things. Too. Yeah, definitely.
And athletics is definitely a good way. I think you need to make it cool, like to actually have a reason for what you do, a justifiable on every level. Like people can't argue with you. They basically just say, well, and they make up a fake reason why they can't do it, or, they just come up with some kind of excuse to cop out why they want to eat the way they do, but they can't really justify it. Like, you can come from, like, any angle to solve any problem, and you can go to vegan. Like, vegan solves every fucking thing.
I think that's really funny that you mentioned that. Because I had somebody on my YouTube channel recently tell me that, they can't go vegan because they're allergic to soy. And they're like, see, I can't have tofu, so I can't be vegan. I'm like, I don't even eat soy. I don't even remember the last time I had tofu. Like, it's just ridiculous, the excuses that some people come up with. And I agree with you 100% that you got to make veganism cool. Because if you type in vegan to Google, like the first things that come up, how sometimes you type in like a word and like other things will come up. It's like vegans are stupid, vegans are crazy, vegans are annoying. Like, why are those the first things that people are coming up with? Why do people have this negative association?
That is the first thing that comes up. Vegans are annoying, dude.
It's sad, and I totally agree. That's kind of why I've been trying to make more like hip-hop songs and make funny videos.
Go for it.
Like, make it cool, man. Veganism is hardcore. It's badass. It's awesome. It's the way. It's the future, and people just haven't realized it.
Saving the planet, man. People.
You're saving the planet. Exactly.
Definitely.
We got to take another commercial break. We're talking with Tino Bananiak right now. Pausunians is on the line. We'll be back talking on The Vegan Truth. Stay tuned. Welcome back to The Vegan Truth. This is your host, Gabe Smith, a.k.a. MC Fructose. We're talking with Tino Bananiak right now from YouTube channel Bananiak. If you haven't checked out Tino's YouTube channel, you absolutely should. He's got really awesome videos. He has amazing interviews with some leaders in the vegan community, especially with some really awesome doctors like John McDougall, who wrote The Starch Solution, T. Colin Campbell, who wrote The China Study and Whole, Rip Esselstyn, who wrote The Engine 2 Diet, and many more. So please check out his channel. And Tino, I'm really impressed by some of these amazing interviews that you've had. I mean, you have these people on your YouTube channel, and I haven't had any of those doctors yet on my show. So how do you get these interviews with these leaders in the community?
Yeah, thanks, man. So yeah, I get that question a lot. How I get all these awesome interviews. Now, my tip to getting these guys, on your show or on people's YouTube channels is just to simply email them. These people are so genuine and generous and want to get the message out there that they're willing to spend a little bit of time and to talk about their work and how they can help people. And so I would just say anyone who's trying to get in contact with the plant-based doctors or just anyone in general is just send them a kind message. Tell them, hey, I have a YouTube channel called Bananiac. I really want to get the plant-based word out there to people and help people. I was wondering if you have some time that you can spare for, a 30-minute or whatnot Skype interview. And so just go on their website and just simply ask them. And I'm sure, almost 100% of the time they'll say yes. Absolutely.
I'm definitely going to start doing that because I want to get some of these doctors on my show. The doctor I'm most looking forward to talking to right now is Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn, author of Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease, and that's because my father is following his program. My father's reading his book, and he's super inspired, and he's taking the initiative, and he's making progress, and he has questions for me too. So I think it'd be really awesome to have Caldwell Esselstyn, and then have my father call in. I'm really looking forward to that. So thanks for the inspiration.
He would be an awesome person to have on the show. Like, he's definitely one of my biggest inspirations. I mean, to think about, he is the man who has reversed the #1 killer. I mean,
right.
He's reversing the #1 killer in the world, essentially, heart disease. He has so much potential to save so many lives. But unfortunately, the word isn't getting out there. So definitely have him on the show. Definitely have your viewers listen to him and what he has to say. He is an amazing doctor, reversing heart disease in about 3 weeks. So he's awesome, and his work is absolutely phenomenal.
I agree. It's so awesome. I'm looking forward to that. I hope I can get him on the show in the near future. Is there any guests that you haven't had on your show that you're looking forward to having? I know you also got, what's his name, Michael Greger, I saw you had on your show, which is pretty awesome, too. I mean, he's amazing from nutritionfacts.org. Awesome
he's
guy.
A good doctor, too, Dr. Michael Greger, from nutritionfacts.org. He is more of a researcher. He looks into the studies as opposed to, to having... like Dr. Esselstyn would publish a study. He had his patients go on the program, and he would kind of observe what happened. Dr. Greger looks at the studies and reviews them on his YouTube channel. I think he publishes like a new video every week or something like that. So his videos are really good, and he was a great resource to have. I still have, I think, maybe 1 or 2 videos that I haven't released from him yet. But yeah, he was a good one. Another, I would like to get Caldwell Esselstyn too, but just, even everyday people just reversing diseases I would love to have on the show, and just more athletes. But interviews are so great, and what you're doing here with the show too, with the Vegan Truth, is absolutely awesome, because not only, do you get to share your story, but you get to have others share their story as well. And, by having everyone kind of share their experience and what they've gone through and have other people listen to them saves, so much trouble for the listener. So they don't have to make the mistakes that the speaker made. And you get to share experience, you get to learn with each other. And I think that's one of the best ways you can learn is just by sharing your experience and what you've gone through. And so that's the main reason why I've been doing all these interviews. I've been wanting to get doctors' perspectives. I've been wanting to ask athletes, health advocates, people that have gone through, diseases or have an awesome weight loss story they can share. Just anyone that, can share this awesome message, because I'm hearing it from left and right, up and down, and it's nothing but success, And, there might be slight variations, like, one person might eat 2 avocados, or one person might eat 1 or none avocados. But the main message that I'm getting from all these interviews is a high carbohydrate, low fat, plant-based diet will make you thrive and healthy. That is the main message that I'm getting so far. So that's my main reason for doing all these interviews, is just sharing the experience of all these people that are succeeding and just being able to spread the plant-based message.
Awesome. And I totally love your channel, man. I look forward to watching your new videos. I love that recent video that you had, the Civil War, or the vegan Civil War video, when you're talking about the war between bananas and potatoes. Like, man, it just makes so much sense. There should be unity among us vegans. There shouldn't be this divide, and who eats more fruit than who, and nana boo boo and all that. But
yeah, no, definitely. I mean, obviously, I over-exaggerated a little bit, but if someone from the outside was looking in, they would just see this kind of dividing line between the raw vegans and the vegans. And I mean, I understand both sides. I know what both sides are trying to do. The raw vegans are focused on the natural species-specific diet. The cooked vegans are worried about the practicality of the mainstream. I'm all for both, to be honest with you. I think they're both healthy diets. I've seen nothing but success from both sides. But if you want my opinion, I'm having trouble getting people to eat rice and beans, in my nutrition classes. And so I can't imagine telling people to even cut out potatoes and starch, and just tell them to eat all fruits and vegetables. People can't even eat, they can't even eat veggie burgers, as opposed to the real hamburgers, So that's what I'm seeing. As a dietetic student, I can't say no to starch. If you want to argue that raw fruits and vegetables are better, so be it. But the practicality of having starch as another option, as a part of a healthy plant-based diet, I think is a great thing for me as a dietitian to advocate. So that's where I'm coming from.
I think it's sad that people they usually wait till it's too late, or until something happens that is, could mean their life, before they start making changes. It's like my father. He deep fried his turkey for Thanksgiving, peanut oil, and I remember he had a deep fryer, and it was in his kitchen. I'm like, what are you doing to add? It's healthy, and I'm like, it's oil, it's pure oil. Why are you doing that? And he's like, but it's peanut oil, and he's trying to tell me that it's better, and people at work are trying to tell me that olive oil is healthy, and I'm like, people just don't make the connection until something happens. He ended up in the hospital, and that's why he's changing. And I think that happens for a lot of people, and so you're right on with saying, people are, they would rather eat the meat than the veggie burger, even though the veggie burger's healthier. It's, you can't just tell them to not eat the veggie burger and just eat fruit, because people who are sitting there slamming down the meat and the dairy and the eggs, they're not going to want to do that. There's no way.
For sure. I mean,
there's
some people can go all out, for sure, overnight, and shift to 100% whole food, or even a raw vegan diet. But some people want to have just an extra option, just a next stepping stone, if you will, and just have a tiny improvement. And sometimes it does take a bit of that last, hitting the wall and bouncing back. I remember before I was vegan, I actually did a high-fat paleo-style diet. I was eating no more than a sweet potato a day. Now I can go through a whole bag of it, no problem. And I was out for a whole week in the summertime, and it was a hot summer day, I remember, and I was out in my sweats because I would get these hot and cold chills, and I was freezing outside wearing sweats in the hot summer day. So that was kind of like, you know, dude, you gotta turn your life around and do something. So yeah, sometimes it does take, you know, more than you're conscious to tell you that you're doing wrong. Sometimes it does take getting sick and going to the hospital and telling you, you know, to wake up and change what you're doing.
Absolutely. So, kind of change the subject just a little bit here. I'm curious as to, you know, for the listeners too, what have you had to eat today so far?
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad that you asked, Gabe, because today was the first day I've ever had cherimoya.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Oh, my God, dude. Have you had cherimoya?
I've had cherimoya, yeah. I had my first one in Chicago with Mike Leslie. It was awesome.
Nice. Yeah, I had cherimoya today, and I actually made a video about it, but, oh, my gosh, dude, it was one of the best fruits I've ever had. Top 10, definitely, maybe even top 5. So I just had one. It was kind of expensive. I think it was like $5.30 for a piece of fruit. So I bought one. I was like, what the heck? Like, I've always wanted to try it, so I might as well try it. So good. So I had one cherimoya first thing in the morning. Let's see, I had I think a 12-banana smoothie. Just I put in 12 bananas. I made sure they were spotty and ripe. I put it in the blender. I put maybe half a liter of water in there and just blended it up and drank it. And let's see, I think right before the show I had must have been 6 potatoes and some quinoa. I don't remember how much quinoa, but it's usually like, you know, how much I eat. So I had a little bit of quinoa with it. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Nice. You've had more than me today, but you're also on a later schedule than me. See, I worked out this morning, and I don't like to eat too much before my workouts.
Yeah.
So I usually eat something like an hour or two before. I had like 3 bananas like an hour before I worked out. And then immediately after, I was pumping some iron, doing like deadlifts, repping 245 deadlifts today. I haven't done deadlifts since August, so I feel pretty good about that. But and then I drank a jug of Odwalla Mango Tango, which is really awesome stuff.
Oh, that's good.
I've been finding, those are so good. They're so delicious. I highly recommend them to people. They are pasteurized, not 100% raw, but it's fruit. It's really healthy, really good for
delicious.
You. It's delicious, and you get like 1,200 calories out of one jug. And usually they're like $9. Everywhere I look, they're like $9. It's kind of expensive for a meal.
Yeah.
But recently, I've been finding a couple of grocery stores that are selling them on sale for like $5.39. And whenever I find them on sale, I buy them out of the entire, all of them that they have. Like I found 8, and I'm like, I crowd them all, put them in my cart, you know. The other day I found 12 for like $5.60 or something. I bought them all. Because why not, you know? They're on sale. I'm going to load up.
That's awesome,
and, of course,
man.
tonight I'm probably going to have some potatoes or something, too, because I'm making food for my dad and tend to eat food at night right now.
Yeah, the Mango Tango is so satiating because it's not like a fruit juice. It's a fruit smoothie. Like, it's got the fiber in there. It's filling. Yeah. Good stuff, man.
What about you, Postimian? Are you still there? What did you have today?
Today, I made a What I Ate Today video today, and I ate a fig smoothie with bananas and figs. I had, like, soaked figs.
Oh, man.
So they were dried, but they kind of re-moisturized, and then I added in some sugar to that. So that was like,
nice.
Yeah, that was a solid meal. And
what kind of sugar? Was it coconut sugar?
No, it was cane sugar, my dude.
Cane sugar.
Nice.
Cool.
And 12 bananas, I think. And I had 5. I found 4 really good mangoes, like rare, in January. Were they elephant tusk or something? Those little yellow ones.
Oh,
and,
the champagne ones?
Yeah, champagne mangoes.
Yeah.
And
really good.
A bowl of rice and vegetables.
Nice, man. Classic.
Thanks for asking.
Staying carved up. Thanks for asking what I ate today. Well, just for the listeners who are listening, like, how does a vegan thrive? And you got 3 really good examples of what all 3 of us ate today. Even though it's not 100% raw, lots of fruits and vegetables in there, and a little bit of cooked food, which is not bad. It's not going to hurt you. It's going to be good for you if it's, you know. I want to make a video actually soon about, healthy, healthier, and healthiest. Because I think, in my, from the research I've done, the people I've met, that being 100% raw is the healthiest. But it's not easy for everybody to do. Like right now, I don't have access to it. I don't have the money to afford it, and I'm trying to help my dad out who's not willing to do it. So for everybody, we can't do it. I want to make a video about that. But even if you can't get all fruit, which I'm not doing, I'm still healthy. I'm healthier than most by, eating a little bit of cooked food and having lots of fruits and vegetables, high carb, low fat, no sodium. That's where it's at.
For sure.
Also, for people who are listening right now, I have a Facebook group page now for The Vegan Truth. So if you've ever missed any of the past episodes, you can go to The Vegan Truth on Facebook and scroll down and find any of the past episodes. Really awesome stuff with Darian Ryder, Ann Osborne, Freely, Christina Bukaram. Lots of cool people, Mike Blasty. Check that out. And we got about 6 minutes left of the show. I'm wondering, are you guys curious about, I'm releasing a new hip-hop song soon. It's called Drinking Smoothies Like a Boss. I kind of want to share, one verse with you guys, just off the cuff.
Definitely.
I would love to hear that.
Definitely.
Okay. I'm just one verse. I'm actually planning on releasing a hip-hop album sometime in 2014. It's one of my goals. One, to make a little bit of money because, I want to make money online, and it's fun, and it's beneficial and helps people. But anyways, without further ado, this is the first verse of my new hip-hop song releasing soon called Drinking Smoothies Like a Boss. All right. How's a man supposed to get properly carved up? Drinking itty-bitty smoothies out of tiny-ass cups? I need a jug. Like Christina loves hugs, I need a jug. Like a fiend craves drugs, I need a jug. Some people like to eat meat and cheese, but people who eat animals more often get disease. I drink a big-ass smoothie once or twice a day. It fills me up and gives me energy to play. If you are fat and sick, the hope's not lost. You can still improve your health by drinking smoothies like a boss. Smoothies like a boss. Smoothies like a boss. That's one verse.
Nice, man. That was off the fruit, man. That was off the fruit.
That was fruited up.
That sounds good, man.
Thank you. I love making songs, man. I never was even interested in hip-hop. When I was a kid, I was more into, rock and alternative, and I play guitar, and I love classical music. And never even, I don't like Kanye West. I don't really listen to hip-hop. But I just made a hip-hop song, a while back, and I enjoyed doing it. It was fun. It's funny. It's, about being healthy and making fun of myself, and I enjoy it, so... Anyway,
awesome.
We got about 4 minutes left of the show. Tino, where can people find you? Where can people find you?
Yeah, so I have a YouTube channel called Bananiac. That's Bananiac. It's kind of like Maniac. And you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just search Bananiac. And I have great interviews with doctors, athletes, nutritionists, health advocates, you name it. So check me out. It's called Bananiac.
Cool. And what advice do you have for people who are new vegans?
Yeah, so if you're adopting a vegan diet, let's say you're adopting it for environmental reasons or you're doing it for animal reasons, you're doing it for your health, just whatever you're doing it for, my advice would be make sure you're having fun doing it. Make sure you're doing it for the right reasons, not trying to impress other people, and just eat as many, natural whole plant foods that our bodies are designed to eat. Eat lots of fruits and vegetables. Eat starch if you want to incorporate starch. Eat starch, Eat potatoes, eat pasta, eat rice, eat beans, eat foods that are going to nourish you and keep you healthy long term. And don't worry about calorie restricting. Calorie restriction is not sustainable. So keep it high carb, keep it low fat. Ditch the animal products, ditch the meat, ditch the dairy. It will serve you no purpose. So it's just going to slow you down. So eat the foods that are going to nourish you and take you far.
Cool. And if you were on a desert island and you could only have one type of food, what would you bring with you? What kind of food would you have growing everywhere?
Oh, man. Well, only able to eat just one fruit. I would definitely want it to be hydrating because, I mean, I guess it would be a bit hot out in a desert or out in the sun all day. So I guess I would go with a mango. Yeah, mango is pretty juicy and full of sugar, so definitely mango.
I like that. You got to watch out with mangoes because I heard they're related to the poison ivy family, and the sap on the outside can cause outbreaks and stuff on your face and cuts.
Yeah, I've heard of that actually.
Yeah, my wife has had issues, but as long as if you put it in a smoothie or you drink it with a straw or you cut it out of the skin, then you shouldn't have those problems. I think I would bring bananas because they're high in calories, full of nutrients. They contain tryptophan and tyrosine, which help produce serotonin and dopamine, happy chemicals. But honestly, I would love to have coconuts because of the water. Super hydrated.
Yeah. That would be a good
Thanks for being on the show, man. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Thanks for my people who have called in, Jean-Pierre and Pau Simeons. Nice to talk to both of you guys. Next week on the show, we got Megan Elizabeth from Easy to Be Raw. It's going to be here on The Vegan Truth, every Friday, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm going to end the show today. Also, if anybody wants to get a hold of me, you can contact me through the website, easyrawlife.com, or The Vegan Truth on Facebook. I'm going to end today with a little quote from Gandhi, just for people who are vegan dealing with adversity. Here's a quote from Gandhi. Many people, especially ignorant people, want to punish you for speaking the truth, for being correct, for being you. Never apologize for being correct or for being years ahead of your time. If you're right and you know it, speak your mind. Speak your mind. Even if you are a minority of one, the truth is still the truth. Thanks for everybody for listening. This has been The Vegan Truth. We'll talk to you next week. Peace and health.